You know FICO, right? That three-digit number that pretty much follows you everywhere. But behind that score, there's a huge company with a really fascinating story. We're going to pull back the curtain on their latest earnings report to see how the business that powers our financial lives is really doing.
Yeah, we all know the score. It's a number that can open doors or, close them. But what's the actual story behind the company FICO? How do they make their money? And where are they even headed next? That's what we're here to break down.
So here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with their pretty impressive report card for the quarter. Then we'll get into what I'm calling the tale of two FICOs, their main business arms. We'll see why their score side is just a massive growth engine, what their big bet on software is all about, and finally, what the road ahead looks like for them. Okay, first up, FICO's stellar report card. Let's get right to the big, flashy numbers.
For the fourth quarter of 2025, FICO pulled in a whopping $516 million in revenue, a really, really strong way to finish out their fiscal year.
And this wasn't just a good quarter, it was a great one. That $516 million, that's a 14% jump from the same time last year. The takeaway here is pretty clear. The company is growing and it's growing fast. But the real question is, where is all that growth coming from? And that question brings us right to our next section, a tale of two FICOs. See, to really get what FICO is, you have to understand that it's basically two different businesses rolled into one. This chart here really breaks it down and shows you something fascinating. This scores business, the one we all know and think about, makes up 60% of the pie. The other 40% comes from this less-known software business. So while scores is clearly the heavyweight, both sides of the company are major players. So what do these two things actually do? Well, it's pretty simple when you boil it down. The score segment is exactly what it sounds like. It's that classic FICO score they sell to lenders to figure out credit risk. The software segment, though, that's different. It's this powerful decision-making platform that banks use for pretty much everything, from approving loans to sniffing out fraud. Okay, now let's zoom in on the real hero of this quarter's earnings story, the score segment. As you're about to see, it has been an absolute growth engine for the company. The numbers here are just fantastic. Total revenue from scores was up 25% compared to last year. And inside that number, the revenue from their business-to-business sales, it shot up by an incredible 29%. This is where the action is. And this chart just brilliantly illustrates the star of the show. Just look at that bar for mortgage originations, up 52%. Auto loans were strong too, up 24%. But that mortgage number is the real story. So what on earth happened there? Well, the answer comes straight from the CEO, Will Lansing. FICO launched this new Mortgage Direct license program, and it totally changed how they sell scores to the mortgage industry. And as you can see from his quote, the interest has been overwhelming. This one strategic move is what just supercharged their growth this quarter. Now for part 4. If scores is the present, then software is FICO's big bet on the future. And as we're going to see, it's a very different kind of story. So unlike that explosive growth we just saw in scores, software revenue was flat this quarter. But wait, that doesn't tell the whole story. What's really happening is a big transition. Revenue from their new, modern platform actually grew 16%, but that growth was basically canceled out by declines in their older products. FICO is betting its entire future on this new platform. And at the heart of that new platform is some truly groundbreaking technology. It's called FICO FFM, or Focused Foundation Model. It's a special kind of generative AI, built specifically for the super complex world of finance. The whole point isn't just to be powerful, but to be accurate, auditable, and transparent, all things that are absolutely critical when you're dealing with people's money. And the performance claims they're making are pretty stunning. FICO says their AI delivers more than a 35% improvement in spotting fraud. It's also incredibly efficient, requiring up to 1,000 times fewer resources than typical AI models. And, crucially, it's designed to avoid those weird hallucinations or errors that other AIs have become famous for. So what's really important to get here is that this isn't some abstract science experiment. This is the technology that powers fraud protection for 4 billion payment cards worldwide. That means every time you tap, swipe, or click, there's a really good chance FICO's AI is humming away in the background, keeping your money safe. So, after a stellar quarter driven by scores and a huge strategic bet on AI-powered software, what's next for FICO? Let's take a quick look at their own official forecast. The company is feeling extremely optimistic about the year ahead. This guidance table shows they're projecting revenues of $2.35 billion for fiscal year 2026, along with really strong earnings per share. Basically, they expect the growth we saw this quarter to keep on rolling, which is a powerful vote of confidence in both their core scores business and their new software platform. And that leaves us with one last really fascinating question. There's no doubt that the FICO score is king of the credit world today. But as we've seen, the company is pouring a ton of energy and resources into a future built on artificial intelligence. The real story to watch now is whether its AI-powered software can become the empire of tomorrow.